In this episode of Falmouth in Focus, we'll hear an update on the Route 28 water main replacement project, visit some new residents at Peterson Farm, and celebrate Earth Day at the Seacrest with Falmouth Students. All this and much more on this episode of Falmouth in Focus.
Hello and welcome back to Falmouth in Focus, FCTV's current affairs program. I'm your host, Michael Kasparian, and welcome to the first of many productions from the new Falmouth Community Media Center. The town of Falmouth is in the midst of an extensive project to replace the water main on a portion of Route 28 in East Falmouth. We checked in with Steve Rafferty, Falmouth Water Department Superintendent, for a project update.
I'm Steve Rafferty. I'm the town's water superintendent. And want to bring you up to date on the water main project that we recently started actual construction on out on T-Ticket Highway. So the history behind this project is that back in 1898, when the water system was first formed, a cast iron pipe was placed down Main Street and out to T-Ticket at the time, and it's been there ever since. So it's served its useful life, and the town for a number of years has had a plan in place to replace that line and put in a larger diameter line. In fact, it's a 16-inch diameter line, which gives more than 4 times the volume of the existing 8-inch line in terms of water carrying capacity. 2 big advantages. One, the line will not break in the future. We will not have some of the water main breaks we've experienced over the last couple of years. More importantly, among everything else out there, the amount of water available to fight any fire along that old main is limited. You would like to have at least a minimum of 1,500 gallons a minute from every hydrant. More if you can, 2,500 gallons a minute is a great number. The hydrants we have on that existing main do not make 1,500 gallons a minute now, but all the new hydrants will. So there's a big advantage to overall safety and protection in the community. The main that we've designed will run from basically Palmer Avenue past the town green, down Main Street, down to the Heights Road, up Davis Straits Road. We've already installed, when they did the roadway reconstruction at the Stop and Shop, Jones, Worcester Court, Davis Height intersection, we already put in 1,600 feet of the 16-inch main as part of that work, so we don't have to dig that intersection up again. We will then pick it up just past the Admiralty Inn, and the line then continues all the way out to Oxbow. The bulk of this work is inside the State Highway Route 28. The portion from Palmer Avenue down to Davis Straits is town roads. So we can do work in the town roads during the winter period, but we cannot do work in the winter roads under the control of the state during the winter. So we'll keep that construction schedule updated as we move along. Every week on the water webpage for this department, which you can reach by going through the town's webpage and selecting water, we do an update. And there's also on there a contact name for me, that if you would like to be on a list that gets an individual notice each week, it's steve.rafferty@falmouthma, all one word, .gov. If I get an email from you, I'll add you to the contact list, and you'll get updated weekly of where we're at. The contractor has been making around 200 feet a day out on the T-Ticket portion and is doing quite well. We will step off the highway the day before the Memorial Day weekend. And after the Memorial Day weekend, we've made a request to the state for us to be able to work till June 15th. I don't foresee any issues with them on getting that approval. And that will allow us to get to Sandwich Road and put that section of new main into service before we walk into the summer. We then won't work until we get to Labor Day and come back. And then we will work up to probably a day or two before Thanksgiving.
Project information and traffic plans will be regularly updated on the Water Department's webpage and the Falmouth Police Department's Facebook page. Thanks to Jeff Wyman for that story. It's time now for 3 Things from Town Hall, FCTV's condensed version of the takeaways from recent municipal meetings. Selections are chosen based on community impact.
In the last Selectmen's meeting, the Library Board of Trustees gave a report to the board about the operations of the library during the past year. The report detailed some financial accomplishments of the library, as well as work being done at the East Falmouth Library and some of the programs that town libraries offer to the public.
Past year was a rewarding year for the Board of Library Trustees as we continued to be the link between the library and the public. The Falmouth Public Library Support Fund, a 501c3, became operational last year. At the East Falmouth Branch Library, a new reading garden was installed. It's used for children's programs, and last summer it was used for Project Bread. This was the 3rd phase of a project that began with solving the moisture problems in the building, continued with reconfiguring the parking area to include safer HP spots, and alleviating flooding problems in the parking area.
Volunteerism at its best, and we are so supremely grateful. You're so well known, you're so careful, you have such an empathetic and smart manner about so many things, and we're going to miss you. Can't wait to see what the next chapter.
Among various sign variances and wetland hearings, the board also interviewed and appointed members of the public to several committees and commissions in town: the Commission on Disabilities, Affordable Housing Committee, Agricultural Committee, Community Preservation Committee, and Substance Abuse Commission were all slated to have members appointed to their groups.
We have a community forum coming up.
And that's on June 11th?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Is there a motion?
I move approval. Appointment, I should say.
Second? June
This
30th,
is June
2000.
30, 2021. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for your application. Appreciate it.
Recently, the selectmen have been discussing the Edward Marks building and what the board would like to see be done with the site. At their last meeting, the board decided to create a committee to advise them on various aspects of the project. At this meeting, the selectmen voted the mission statement for the Edward Marks Jr. Building Advisory Committee.
Charge is fairly clear. This is intended to be a single-purpose committee, so it's not a permanent standing committee. And the purpose is to come up with a restoration plan, to recommend to this board a preservation and restoration plan. I've outlined some of the criteria that I believe the committee would want to take into consideration, but that list is not limiting. There certainly may be other factors that the appointed committee members may come up with that they want to take into consideration as well.
We're looking for a motion to approve this draft mission statement.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
To see the meetings in their entirety, check out Government Channel 15's program schedule at fctv.org. And don't forget that Town Election Day is on May 21st. So remember to get out and let your voice be heard. We're going to take a quick break and look at an adoptable cat from People for Cats. And when we return, we'll pay a visit to the oldest marine aquarium in the United States, located right here in our town. Stay with us.
Daisy is an adorable brown tabby domestic long-hair female. This cutie is 1 year old and sports a medium long-haired tabby coat with tiger stripes. She's a friendly little girl, though she is a bit shy and may take some time to warm up. Destiny is a beautiful calico domestic long-hair female. This 1 year old sports a striking medium to long-hair coat of jet black and red fur, accented by white on her bib and paws and splashed on her nose. She's a bit shy, but is quite the little sweetie if you spend some time with her. We're looking to place Daisy and Destiny together since they're bonded and always live together. Why not come and meet these two cuties and see if you'd like to add them to your family? Come by the shelter during adoption hours and see if you'd like to give them a forever home. Adoption days are Wednesday from 4 to 1 and Saturday from 10 to 1. Located at 44 Beagle Lane in Falmouth.
Welcome back. The Woods Hole Science Aquarium was established in 1885, making it the oldest marine aquarium in the United States. Since then, it has offered countless visitors a unique opportunity to learn about our local marine ecosystem and the diversity of life beneath the waves.
So right now, when I arrived at work this morning, I just did a basic health check. I go through and check each and every tank, every animal, check for airflow, overall fish health, And then we put together our feed cart and make sure that all the animals get fed. We try to do that in the morning before we open, and that way we're not impeding the public when they do come through.
So today we were feeding cut up fish, which was capelin. All of our fish is restaurant quality, so if you wanted to eat it, you could, but we don't suggest it. The fish love it, but it's not so much delightful for us. The other thing that we feed a lot of is a gel diet, which we make in-house. That is consistent of spinach, carrots, fish that's been blended up, a vitamin powder, and then a gelatin, so we're able to freeze it and then cut it into the appropriate size, and we can save it for several months in our freezer. Other diets that we offer are some shrimp for the pickier fish. So we do have some fish that, like everybody in the world, don't like some diets. So we'll offer them other diets that are enriched with like vitamins.
A lot of our animals have been with us for up to 20 years. Some of them come from local fishermen, some of them come from our own collecting walks. In the summertime, we'll take the public with our interns that are here in the summer, and we'll go and do collecting walks, usually at Woodneck Beach. We'll also get some of our collection from our own research vessels, and I'm trying to think. We'll trade sometimes with other aquariums or other collectors as well. Outreach in the community, we do support the high school has a science fair every single year, so we'll support that. We support all of the field trips that come through. We have our internship program that happens every summer with high school and college kids as well. This summer, I'm not sure if that's being offered just because of our staffing. We're short on staffing currently, but will be offered again in the future. This is a fantastic little aquarium. It's the oldest aquarium in the country, and we're free and open year-round, Monday through Friday currently, maybe extended hours in the summer. But it's a really neat aquarium. Most aquariums won't allow you to come back behind the scenes. You'll get to talk to biologists like myself, answer any of your questions, and it's a lot of local species, so you kind of have a close-up view of what you can find just offshore.
Endangered Species Day takes place this weekend. A stop to the aquarium would be a great way to learn directly from our local scientific community about the efforts underway to preserve the marine habitats that surround us on Cape Cod. Thanks to Bob Fenstermaker for that story. Spring has arrived at Peterson Farm, and a youth movement is underway in the barnyards. We couldn't resist the urge to spend some time with some adorable baby farm animals, so we had to pay a visit.
I'm one of the shepherds or shepherdess at Peterson Farm. Peterson Farm is one of the longest farmed pieces of property on Cape Cod. It's been here for about 400 years. It was a sheep and cattle farm, initially owned by the Weeks family, and then in 1950 or so it was sold to Mr. Peterson, the farm's current namesake. And he raised vegetables for his hotel on this plot of land. In 1998, the town bought the land as a conservation area, and a portion of that conservation area is maintained as grassland. And in order to maintain it as grassland, we are using our grazing tools back here, the sheep. And it's just a much more friendly way to maintain the property as grass as opposed to using commercial mowing. Spring is a great time to come to the farm. Spring is when our sheep are lambing. We have a total of 15 adult ewes, but we only bred 10 this year. Usually these animals have twins, and so we expected about 20 babies. We ended up with 16 presently. We may have 2 more on the way, we're not totally sure. And we have 5 girls and 11 ram lambs right now.
A shepherd basically manages a flock of sheep, and so that includes everything from watching over them while they're lambing, make sure everything's going well, vaccinating them, moving them from different pieces of pasture through the summer and into the fall. We have different ways of doing that. We have sheepdogs that help us move them and get them into the pen so that we can vaccinate them or drench them, whatever we're doing. And so one of the main reasons why we got into, both Diana and I got into this, is because we also love border collies and training border collies to be sheepdogs, and that's why we're prepared to do it on a volunteer basis.
So the breeds of sheep we have here are multi-purpose. We have Scottish Blackface and North Country Cheviot Texel crosses. They are a wool and a meat variety. And then we have our Katahdin hair sheep, and they are primarily a meat breed of sheep. Our ram lambs, the boy lambs that were born, will go off to slaughter in the fall, and the girl lambs will stay here, ewe lambs, and produce, more animals, and that's, the circle of life on the farm.
I think both of us are doing this because we're committed to local agriculture, and the future we see is a super healthy, climate-friendly farm that produces climate-friendly fiber, climate-friendly food that's locally produced, and that people can feel happy about using. And so it can be a source of pride for the town that we can do this in the middle of Falmouth, in a place that has lost almost all of its agriculture.
Peterson Farm is one of the oldest farms on Cape Cod, having functioned as a sheep and cattle farm for 300 years. And by the look of things, these new additions fit right in. Thanks to Andrew Richards for that story. In the last decade, the use of electronic cigarettes, otherwise known as vaping, has become an issue in schools and households throughout the country as more and more young people are adopting this potentially dangerous habit. We spoke to some school administrators about the issue and what efforts are underway to curtail this activity and educate our youth about its dangers.
So during my listening and learning tour, we had a lot of parents that expressed concern about the increased vaping and asked for help. And I felt like it was a real cry for help and what we could do for education for students. But parents also don't understand everything there is about the vaping phenomena, and so they ask for themselves to have some education.
Vaping and e-cigarettes are not harmless. They do contain nicotine and a whole bunch of other really dangerous and harmful chemicals. So first of all, the website getoutrage.org has a ton of great information for parents. It has frequently asked questions, it has pictures of the vaping devices, lots of information. And then talk to your kids. Make sure they know that it's not harmless, it's not water vapor, there is nicotine in e-cigarettes and Juuls and vapes, and just make sure you have that information and you have those conversations with your kids.
Present some of the aspects of the additives in the e-cigarettes, the lung damage issues, the potential for cancer, also to outline the industrial side of this, the companies that are very heavily invested in e-cigarettes, the decline overall in standard tobacco products, which is forcing a number of companies to move into e-cigarettes, and the effects of nicotine and the other additives in e-cigarettes on the lungs and today's youth.
We are seeing children at school vaping. They're coming to the nurse's office. They're exhibiting symptoms of addiction and nicotine withdrawal. We're seeing students that are complaining of stomach aches and headaches, fatigue, nausea, respiratory issues, coughing, and we see this as a major problem at our schools in Falmouth.
Getting together a forum for parents was one avenue to get the information out. Secondly, we are looking at our health program, and so we are introducing new lessons around vaping to try to educate our students as well.
For questions about teen vaping, be sure to check out some of these approved resources. Thanks to Ryan Weber for that report. After this short break, we'll be back with a look at spring fishing. Time for some trout when Falmouth in Focus continues. Stay with us. Welcome back. The fish are biting and the weather is warming up. So let's join Ryan Collins from My Fishing Cape Cod on a trip for trout.
All right, hello, My Fishing Cape Cod.
Hi,
Ryan
guys.
here. I'm with my buddy Garrett.
Hi.
You may have recognized Garrett from some of the seminars that we've done over the years, and Garrett's also written some articles on the website about easy access spots like the Dowses Beach Fish Pier, for example. But today, what do we gotta go after today?
We're gonna try our trout hand.
That's right, we're gotta go for trout. We've got the 12-foot tin boat. We got a row, use live shiners, use some lures.
Should be fun.
It should be fun. All right, so let's get to it. Right there, look at that fish.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, come on, eat it. Eat that shiner. I think he's going after mine. Oh my gosh, what's going on? Come on, eat it. I think he got it. Oh my goodness, come on. How's that possible? How did he possibly manage to take the shiner?
He took it?
He took it. Oh my goodness. At least we're getting some action.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
If he took yours, he probably could have took mine.
He could have. Try hooking this guy right through the nostrils. Give that a try. Jeez, I mean, he was smacking that for 30 seconds. So right over towards shore here, if you look on Google Earth,
Yeah.
there's a nice sand flat.
Oh, yeah.
But then it just drops right off. And we're probably in like 15, 16 feet of water right here.
All right.
There we go. Oh, he's taking a little line. I don't know what we got here, if it's a trout or a bass or a perch.
No. You have mine.
Where are you? I think I'm under you. Yep, I'm under you. You just stay where you're at. This guy's putting up a good fight, whatever he is.
Looks like a bass.
Nope, that's a trout. That's a rainbow. Nice.
Nice trout.
Really nice one. Sweet. Cracking the code, Garrett.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks to Ryan Collins for this month's fishing report. Seacrest Beach Hotel in North Falmouth hosted all of Falmouth's third grade students and their teachers for an Earth Day celebration presented by the Falmouth Department of Marine and Environmental Services. The children learned about everything from how Falmouth is using quahogs and oysters to clean its ponds, to how plastic packaging is damaging marine habitats.
We're happy to host Earth Day 2019. Part of Delaware North's mission is called Green Path, to be good stewards of the environment. And we're trying to do that today. And we're thrilled to host all the third graders from Mullenhall, T-Ticket, East Falmouth, and North Falmouth, just to understand a little more about Earth Day and being good stewards of the environment. Our chef, Glenn McNair, is going to explain to the children about that we live on Cape Cod. Wouldn't it be great if we still were able to eat cod 30 years from now? And some of the sustainability efforts that we make. And then Christina Lovely is actually going over the oysters and as far as how they make a big impact on the estuaries. Chuck Martinson with the Environmental Services Group is showing a new boat that they've just acquired to enforce the regulations and then actually just boater safety. And then we actually have a plastic bag donation, and we're thrilled to see the plastic bags that the children were able to bring out of circulation. But we're also even more thrilled to see the fact that they were having a hard time to find some of the plastic bags because they're being so earth conscious already themselves.
We're here at the plastic bag collection area, and in the geodesic dome we've amassed a pretty high count so far, with only about half of our students visiting. And you can see behind me, our students are tracking by classroom the number of bags that they've collected and put into the dome for the donation for recycling. And so the Office of Teaching and Learning is going to share two bar graphs with our students. The first is going to be bar graphs for every classroom across the entire third grade to use in their math instruction. And then the second is going to be a stacked bar for each school, so they can see the comparison of classrooms within schools and among schools. And they're going to use that in their math instruction. So we're really excited to be part of the project.
I found interesting today is about the oysters and how they clean the water by eating all the plankton in it.
Well, I thought it was cool because there were things you wouldn't find, it wasn't like a normal boat. It was just things that you wouldn't find, or just things that you wouldn't usually see on a boat.
So what a great day today. We have all third graders from Falmouth Public Schools here to learn a little bit about sustainability, about ecology, how to make sure that we're doing the right things, starting even at a young age, because every student can do something to make a difference. And that's bringing their own bottle to fill up with water instead of using a plastic bottle, making sure that we're not using plastic bags, or just the whole idea with Chef today talking about eating a little bit less cod because the fish, it's being overfished, and so what can we do? And so everybody can do something, and starting at such a young age, they're certainly going to grow up with the right message. So we appreciate everybody's support in helping us, and thank you to the Seacrest today for hosting us. Everyone's having a great time.
For these kids, Earth Day offers an excellent opportunity to learn more about keeping our oceans healthy and being more environmentally conscious in their daily lives. Thanks to Ryan Weber for that story. For more than 80 years, the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution has been one of Falmouth's most internationally famous and acclaimed organizations. But many in Falmouth may not know all that WHOI does and its importance to the global scientific community. Here's a look at what goes on in those labs on Water Street and on their ships around the world.
The oceans, the atmosphere, the interior of the Earth, life, everything is connected.
We are all linked in our research by our passion for the ocean.
WHOI is an amazing place full of extraordinary people who are truly curious about the ocean and want to understand how it works.
How it interacts with the rest of the planetary systems, how humans influence it.
The physics, the geology, the chemistry, the biology, the interaction with human society, it's all connected.
What WHOI does is it brings all those scientists together.
The world's best talent in ocean sciences.
We learn from each other, we develop opportunities together.
It's a force multiplier. It feels like 130,000 scientists.
I can pull together a team from either my department or other departments at WHOI to really tackle any problem.
Having all the support is what makes WHOI unique and enables me to do good science.
WHOI is at the cutting edge of that mix between science and engineering, and it allows us to ask questions that most other places can't ask.
You can come up with ideas, put them into action, and actually deliver results, all in a short time frame.
Vehicle technology, AUV technology, seafloor instrumentation, sensor development.
You get the world-class reputation, but you've also got amazing ships and engineering that allow you access to places that most other scientists can't get to.
You can see further, you can go further, you can reduce your risk, and you can do it less expensively.
It's really amazing for me to be able to walk out of my lab, cross the street, and get on to the research vessel that can take me anywhere around the world.
I've been to remote reefs in the Maldives and the Micronesia.
I've dived on both the Mid-Atlantic Ridge and the East Pacific Rise, and very few people have actually been down there and seen that.
We looked at these turbulent storms in the ocean and how they create upwellings of nutrients.
We're able to collect samples and see how these systems change in real time.
Just imagine you are diving, you are reaching the bottom of the seamount. All of a sudden you see a cloud. As we get closer, we see these objects that were aggregated like in a mass, and you say, what is that?
The sense of isolation, you can almost feel the ocean closing over your head as you submerge. You can learn a tremendous amount just by being in the environment.
Some things have struck me in the middle of the night. It clicks and you're like, oh my gosh, this is something really huge.
It's that aspect of discovery, finding out something new, something that's never been seen before, creates an incredible drive within WHOI scientists, engineers, and technicians.
It's such a compelling place to be, so dynamic and so many opportunities that it attracts really smart and dedicated students and young scientists.
I was reading those papers about amazing science that was coming out of WHOI. Now that I'm here, I get to actually interact with the people who wrote those papers.
The positive feedback and the collaboration finally made me decide, oh, I want to be a scientist. Oh, I can be a scientist.
It's incumbent on us to perpetuate the cycle of education and research and discovery.
People all over the world need to recognize the role that the ocean plays in their daily life, even if they don't live near the coast. It affects weather, it affects food resources, it affects climate.
tides are changing, the temperature's changing, the salinity's changing.
Climate change and overfishing are the biggest threats to coral reefs right now.
How will the ocean respond to global warming?
We have to understand our planet in order to be good stewards of it.
We need to get the understanding into the hands of everyone, from the general public to people responsible for making policy decisions.
It's probably more important now than it ever was.
We're very eager to provide answers for those critical questions that we must address now, and we have the tools and the means to provide these answers.
This is the best place on the planet to do the sorts of things that we're doing.
Institutions around the world look to WHOI as a leader in pushing the envelope.
Concepts that were developed here are understood as the basis for oceanography all over the world.
I'm proud to be from WHOI.
There's no place on Earth I'd rather be.
We have the potential to change the world.
It's not just about this planet, it's about life in the broadest possible terms.
Thanks to WHOI for sharing that video with Falmouth in Focus viewers. FCTV wants you to know that television can be as easy as hitting record on your smartphone. We'd like to invite all Falmouth residents and visitors to share their slice of life with us. Email us your photos and videos or upload them to Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram using the hashtag MyFalmouth or Falmouth in Focus to be featured on the show. Thank you to our most recent contributors. We leave you now with the sights and sounds of the May baskets that adorned Main Street as part of the annual Falmouth Village Blooming. Thanks for watching Falmouth in Focus. We'll see you next time.